Hello, my lovely Substack friends out there. I have not done this for a few days, and I thought it'd be fun to say hello to you again. I think some of my favourite visitors are out there and about to zoom in. I know it's a little late for you guys. We actually are getting up at about 6:15 in the morning now here in France, but we take it well. I mean, Philippe gets Charlie out onto his walk. And I open all the windows of the house, as I've described to you before, to get the heat out. Not that there's a lot of heat in the house today, because finally, the heat wave has coming to an end, just for a few days, and then it's going up again. But we think we're on the downward trend, which is absolutely fantastic. And you will see that I'm going to turn my look. You can see that the garden is greening. Can you see? And you can actually see that the grass is damp. And in fact, there was rain last night. We had absolutely tremendous storms the night before last and the night before that, and all of my protection here for my plants was blown asunder, but we put it all back. And yeah, see, everything's still there. So after I've spoken to you for a while, I will get on and I shall water all my pot plants. You'll see here now, it's interesting here, the geraniums have been fine. These little ones, they're still alive, they're alive, but they were really burnt by the sun, and unfortunately these are the anti-moustique. However, I can tell you something very strange about the mosquitoes this year. They are not here. Now, we have had years where the mosquitoes have been extremely bad here, and this year they are not here. And my husband was speaking the other day with he's a chap who's a scientist, and he said, look, the reason they're not here is because we had a very harsh cold snap in January, and apparently that kills the mosquito eggs. So I'm all for harsh snaps in January. So to the extent that we have to take pleasure in small things, I am saying here that one of the side effects of global warming is harsh cold snaps in the winter, which kill the mosquito eggs. And so that even though we have had a very severe heat wave here, we have not had the added frustration of mosquitoes. And I am someone who gets bitten severely by mosquitoes. Isn't this lovely? The hibiscus now is coming into full bloom. And it's interesting because it starts at the bottom and it works its way up. And now you can see there's a little bee at work already this morning. And it's about to go to the top, to its glorious top. The garden's looking a bit of a mess. And you can see here, here are the nigella. And you can see they've practically been burnt by the sun. But the seeds in there will be good. And I'm going to today pop these, and I'll pop them all over the garden because I love the unexpected blue of the nigella seeds that pop up throughout the garden during the summer. So I'm going to scatter them to the four winds. You can see that finally, now this is a small miracle, these pansies planted last autumn. And I think, no, it was November last year. And at first they didn't do well at all. And then this summer they went absolutely bonkers, and they have survived the heat wave or the canicule. I cannot believe it. We have raspberries ripening now, finally. Now, the first few we tried were pretty ordinary dry old things because of the heat wave, but now that the water's pumping in, and look at this, look at the jasmine. So jasmine's gone nuts. I'm going to prune that to a nice curved shape because it's going to join the glycine here any minute. This also is fantastic. This glycine or wisteria, we basically started training it from about that point because there had been a grapevine here and it's almost reached the end. I'm really thrilled. And then if you go to the other end, I had a small miracle. I've spoken about this before, but the previous owners had a big come out over this, and well, it was under this actually, and that was how they shaded themselves. But we prefer sitting under the table because here there were always wasps, whereas under the tree here, there were never any wasps. So we stopped doing that. So I said to Philippe one day, I said, my darling, we need another glycine. We need to get another wisteria plant, and it needs to go up the wall and along here. I swear the next day up came a sprout of glycine, quite some distance from the parent root. Up it came here, and that was last year, and now look what's happening. I've reduced it to just 2 because I want it to look like this one here. And up it's coming, isn't that gorgeous? And I swear, by next year, that will have covered over there, which is what we wanted. And the whole length of the house is going to be festooned with wisteria and beautiful scented wisteria plants in the spring and in the late summer, because it has 2 bloomings. Speaking of 2 bloomings, you'll see that the magnolia here, you see the little pink flowers, it has a second blooming too when the leaves are fully on, and there it is there. But that will finish soon, and then we have to wait again till the leaves all drop, and then we wait for next spring. Look, the planes are writing messages across the sky. They're saying not as many as usual because the idiot Trump has caused the Straits of Hormuz to be closed, but let's again be thankful for small mercies. This is good for the environment to have fewer planes in the sky. So I apologise if you have been affected by a plane cancellation or 2, but it's good for our environment. There's one of the fat pigeons up there. I call them fat pigeons because they're fat. They're also, we call them dumb pigeons, and we also call them Elvis and his wife, and you can hear them now. And these gorgeous things. Listen to that, isn't it lovely? They go brr, brr. Now, considerable work on the gardens, my friends, considerable work on the gardens. I have remulched all of the veggie patch. I'll see if I can get a better angle here from the terrace, because it's actually quite hard to see everything, but I can't. I lose traction on the phone, not traction, but I lose connection if I get too close. So, look, you can see the remulching. I have pruned back the tomatoes and replanted, so there's 5 new tomato plants there that I had grown from tiny seedlings, and some were gifts, and it was great. And then behind, you can see there, that's the magnolia. Behind that, which you can't see from here, I'll see if you can see it from here, I have dug up a crop of potatoes. We now have potatoes, and we have so many potatoes there, you can see through just about, you can see a spade sticking up in the soil, the bare soil. And so what I did yesterday is I washed the potatoes, dried them, and I had a massive bucket full. And so I've stored them in sand. So you put sand at the bottom of the bucket, then you lay out your potatoes, then put more sand over them, and then continue to do that right to the top. Now, what this stops them from is from going to seed, and also stops them from rotting. And that is now downstairs in the laundry, in the dark and the cool of the laundry. So now we have potatoes that are going to last us quite some time. We had our first meal of baby potatoes the other night, and it was absolutely exquisite. Just gorgeous, these beautiful little potatoes, and they didn't need peeling at all, very, very thin-skinned. So you just need to wash them, and that's it. So that was delicious. And what else? Nothing else. I'm still waiting for our glass house to be built. But that's because the heat wave, now that the heat wave is kind of over, we can start contacting artisans to see who can put up our glass house, which is patiently waiting here. And, oh, this is hilarious. There's a grapevine. I pulled one part out yesterday. Look at it. It is growing up through here. The grapevine was down there. Remember, I told you there was a grapevine up above. And today, that one gets chopped out. It is rather beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. It's incredible. And look at that. That is our beautiful Lila des Andes. I remember I told you we had 2 very severe storms. Well, this one came down in the last storm, in the sense that it was lying on the drive. And so what we did was we had to pull it up and we had to attach it to the bay tree behind the fence, behind the barriere. And it looks spectacular. The really sad thing about these beautiful, beautiful creatures is that they are only in flower for a very short time, so within a month that will be gone. But is it not exquis, as they say here in France? French. Exquisite. And that's about it. And it seems that you guys have been very sensible tonight and you've actually gone to bed. So, we're not going to talk about that idiot Trump. And in fact, to be honest, I've been so busy the last few days, especially with the garden, and also working yesterday online for the gallery because the internet connection at the gallery is abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And I wrote to the mayor on Monday night and said, look, I can't go in with no internet connection. You can't run a business like that. Oh, look at that. Looks like lace in the sky. Huh. And we call that dentelle. Isn't it pretty? So, yeah. So anyway, so Monday I did not go in. I just worked at home. And then yesterday I did an immense amount on the internet at home. It was fabulous. And I'm getting my next exhibition organised, even though we're 3 weeks off the end of the... No, 2 weeks now off the end of the next one. And it's very exciting. Anyway, my darlings, I'm going to go because clearly you've all gone to bed. I hope that some of you are able to listen to this when you are awake. A bientôt. There's my coffee waiting for me. I'm about to sit there and enjoy it. Okay, so I'm going to turn around. I'm going to say bye-bye, guys. I shall listen to Fat Pigeon, who's landed. Seriously, that's like probably the 6th or 7th litter. They do up to 9 a year. Quite incredible. Right through a canicule, they're still nesting. Anyway, all right, my friends. Okay, au revoir et à bientôt.